Good afternoon, everybody. I wanted to get on here and go over the Mazzaroth with you. This is the first chance I've had. Things here where I'm at are a little crazy the past 48 hours with friends being displaced and put in hotels because their homes are possibly burned down. I'm fine. My family's safe, but this is really starting to affect me in a direct way now. From an aunt being evacuated a few days ago to friends being evacuated yesterday. I have friends in a hotel. So it's been a little crazy. So I haven't been able to get on here as much as I have wanted to this past week. Everything has been a little short and sweet due to the impact of what's going on. I did want to get on here and talk about the Mazzaroth for a minute. And for those of you who don't know what that is just simply Hebrew for the Zodiac. And the Zodiac has been around, the Mazzaroth, whatever you want to call it, has been around much longer than the Bible, the Torah, or the Quran put together. And we can see this as humans through ancient Hebrew texts and even ancient Indian texts and archaeology that astrology is more ancient than religion. It's an ancient science. I'm looking at my notes, so bear with me here. But many ancient, let's see, what did I put here? Many ancient Jewish texts do dabble in the ancient astrology. Even the Kabbalah is a full content of astrology going on there. So as above, so below. I talked about this once before in the days of Moses. That was the Aries age, and you used the shofra, which represented Aries energy. It was a clear message through ancient astrology that this was an era or an age of Aries. This was, when you think of Aries, think of the sign Aries. Aries is aggressive. It can be destructive. It's impatient. It's action. In its positive state, it's action. And in the age of Aries, this is the Old Testament of the Bible, it had its pros and cons with Aries energy. And in the Bible, in the First Testament, if you notice, God was a mean, vengeful entity. The New Testament, we turned over into the age of Pisces, a new God, a new age of Pisces, where Christ fed the masses with knowledge, and Christians subconsciously chose the fish tail to represent Christianity. If you look into the Zodiac or into ancient archaeology, and I don't know, I'm fascinated with it, but you'll notice like old ancient churches have a Zodiac wheel. There's clearly a lot of reference to astrology, not just in the Bible. And I'll do a show on astrotheology. Maybe that'll be my next show I do, because it kind of correlates with this. But the Mazzaroth has been around for ages. That's right. God did create the Zodiac, with all its implications. Whether you believe in God or not, or a higher power, creator, great spirit, you can't dismiss the stars and say you believe in a higher power, because a higher power created the stars. I want to talk about Enoch for a minute, because there is a big correlation here through angel energy, the Zodiac as well. And like Enoch and Sandalphon, those are the two archangels that were once human. They were prophets. Enoch, we are in actually, it's Virgo, turned to Virgo energy just the other day. We are in Enoch energy in some ways. This is the archangel Metatron was originally Enoch. And Enoch was the son of Noah, for those of you who, not that I'm a great scholar of the Bible or anything like that, but in the book of Enoch, that we learned that Archangel Uriel, which represents God is my light, gave this knowledge and understanding of astrology to Enoch. It's the churches that took over and made it forbidden knowledge, made it unobtainable to you. But I guarantee you, all those popes in the church know the stars. The Illuminati know the stars. The enlightened know the stars. And I think we have gotten off course here as humans with a lot of things. A great many things are happening. Please know that it's a conversation I had with one of my broom sisters this morning, and she said something, and I'm going to quote her. She said, we have a lot of people that claim to be light workers that are really spiraling down that rabbit hole. And remember, the deep state is man-made. The stars are divine. So when I hear these things about the deep state, all I have to do is look to the stars to see what's going on. August is a fire month. It makes sense that we in California are having fires. The negative dragon's energy is under California. California is a Sagittarian nation, Sagittarian state. Hold on, I'm looking for my notes. We talked about Enoch. Hold on, I have a few more things written down. And like I said, this is going to be short and sweet as well. I was talking about Enoch being one of the archangels who was once human. Sandalphon was the other one. Sandalphon was also originally Elijah. So Elijah and Enoch became Archangel Metatron and Sandalphon, Pisces and Virgo. And they're both polar opposites. Astrology and the Mazzaroth are just simply the universal means by which to read Spirit's divine messages written in the stars. Like I just said, the divine messages are written in starlight. And technically, astrology and ancient astrology was not, how do I put it? It was not erected for predicting the future, but for knowing great spirits' will to give us personal insight. Reading the stars for myself is my own personal crystal ball, okay? It explains a lot about what is going on with the world and with humanity right now. And I know things are scary right now, and you see it in the news. You see it amongst your friends, and this is a very divided country. Please don't fall into that rabbit's hole that you fall so far deep, because with the tail being in Sagittarius, this is where people will bury their head in the sand and not investigate the facts. This is an energy that doesn't look to the truth. This brings me to conspiracy theories. There are some conspiracy theories out there that are very real and very factual. Okay, and within the realm of conspiracy theories, there's always a layer of truth to most conspiracy theories in some way. Not all. There's been that conspiracy theory going around that Michelle Obama is a man. She has a dick. Uh, no, I've seen Michelle Obama's stars, and she is very much a woman. I just think there are some ignorant men out there who can't handle a strong woman. Okay, so there's that. So don't fall into don't fall into that rabbit hole so deep that the conspiracy theories are filled with undertones of racism and bigotry, is what I'm trying to say. Because there was a once upon a time I was really into conspiracy theories, and I'm not so much anymore. Having a crystal ball like the stars to look at and decipher what is fact and what is fiction has benefited me greatly, to where I can argue with my other counterparts. And you could sit there and argue with me all you want, but if you go back to one of my shows I did back in December, it was it was my forecast, and it was the 2020 predictions. I think it was towards the beginning of January, end of December. If you go 15 minutes into that, I clearly said California would be getting the same energy Australia was experiencing. And I live in California right now. Here we are, folks. The stars never lie. Politicians lie. Religious leaders lie. People lie. The stars do not. No matter how painful or bitter of a pill it is to read your own stars or to know other people's stars, they never lie. And that's why I wanted to talk about the Mazzaroth a little bit, because there is a lot of interesting things with ancient Jewish texts that do talk about the Zodiac and ancient astrology. So that's kind of why I brought this up today. I've been wanting to talk to you about it. The Bible in itself is an astrological textbook, full of astrological symbols and templates. I can give you an example of one of them. Let me give you an example of one of them just to justify this for what I'm saying. Let me find it. I have all these pages dog-eared. Okay, so here's one for example, and this is 1 Corinthians 15:41. There is one glory of the sun, and another glory of the moon, and another glory of the stars. For one star differeth from another star in glory. That's referring to our constellations. This is interesting, isn't it? Not that I sit here and decipher the Bible all day, because I don't. And then there's always my famous one where it talks about the morning star. And for all of you who don't know what the morning star is, that's Lucifer. And in Christianity, he's perceived as a fallen angel. But Lucifer does bring great power to the table. 2 Peter 1:19. And we have the word of the prophets make more certain, and you will do well to pay attention to it, as to the light shining in the dark place until the day dawns and the morning star rises in our hearts. Interesting. And then there's my famous one of all scriptures that talks about, oh God, where is it? Well, I know it's either in Luke or Matthew. I'm not, that religious here. So anyway, there's a scripture and it talks about go look for the man with the water pitcher. It's referring to Jesus. Okay. This is where I know Jesus was not born on December 25th. He was an Aquarian. Aquarian is about humanitarianism, brotherly love. He sure as hell was no Capricorn. Me being Capricorn, I can relate. I'm not saying bad Capricorns are bad people. That's not where I'm going with this at all. It's just, I know the Jesus Christ, if he did exist, which I do think he did, was Aquarian. Now, I know many Christians are going to say, oh, she's the devil, she's this, she's that. Christians believe that astrology is satanic, but it's not. Christians, a lot of Christians have been deceived and are just blind and lazy in some ways. They have no understanding of God's celestial messages written in starlight. And like I said, the Bible's filled with astrology messages, all kinds of different things, from specific verses like I just read to you, to entire stories and stuff. This is because astrology was widely accepted as truth in biblical times. And even Jesus made numerous references in his time to astrology. This is just about a bunch of scriptures, and I'm not going to read all of these scriptures to you. But I just wanted to go over the Mazzaroth because a lot of people, and not lately, but in the past, have asked me about what that is, what that means. So this is just a brief analysis of that. I think I've covered everything I wanted to cover today. Like I said, I'm going to be doing these in increments. Let me just make sure I've covered it all. I talked about that. I do want to say one more thing, and you might not be able to digest this very well, and that's okay. The Bible, Torah, Quran, these were written for ages, different ages. New Testament is the Pisces age. Old Testament is the Aries age. Hi, sweet butterfly girl. How are you? We are in the age of Aquarius now. Our story has not been written. So the world is not coming to an end. That doesn't mean humans can't go extinct, but the planet's been here for millions and millions of years, and it will survive in some way. Yes, we are contributing to a great many issues on this planet, but eventually, if we continue on course, we as humans will become extinct and not the other way around. The planet will go on. It will not be destroyed, at least not now. I mean, there have been predictions that it'll disappear in like 3759. Even Edgar Casey predicted that, where it has to do with the solar system engulfing all the planets. But that's not happening now. So what you read in the Bible about the book of Revelations is a story from the age of Pisces. Our story in the age of Aquarius has not happened yet. And there are a lot of astrologers out there who talk about, oh, well, the age of Aquarius happened in 2012. Then you have, like, the man who taught me this method believes that it started in when the Roswell, New Mexico crash happened in the late 40s. That was the beginning of the age of Aquarius. Now, there are other astrologers who believe it happened during the 60s. And after my own research, yes, just like the song, this is the dawning of the age of Aquarius. I know I'm a horrible singer, but it makes sense. This was about liberation in some ways. And we're getting ready to move into a Saturn in Aquarius in December. It's going to be there for 2.5 years. You're going to see radical changes. Remember, Saturn rules politics. And there's a lot of you out there who are conservative that you're not going to like what you see. But it's the age of Aquarius, humanitarianism, brotherly love, caring about your fellow man. The age of being selfish is coming to an end. There's a reason we're in quarantine. There are people out there that are complaining about this, but you've forgotten the message that goes with this, and there's a new age dawning and an old one is dying. You can either be a part of that or you're going to get left behind in that. And that's not some religious rapture bullshit about being left behind. You're going to get left behind. People are not going to want to be around you because of your bigotry and your hatred. Now, that's not to say that people aren't programmed by their stars to be both conservative and progressive. That is very, very true. But there are changes coming. And even the Black Lives Matter, it was a great movement, and then it turned political. So God forbid you support Black Lives Matter. The whole beginning of that was so people realize that Black people want equality. They don't want a white person doing their job or anything. They want to be equal. That's where this all started. But politics took over, religion took over, and here we go. We have a shit show. And those of you that follow that QAnon, I'm telling, like I said, there's always 10 to 15, 20% that is factual. Most conspiracy theories are like an onion. There's an underlayer of truth to some of it. QAnon is on the FBI's domestic terrorism list. So please consider where you're getting your information. Okay. And please consider the deep state is man-made. The stars are divine. So when my spiritual friends come at me talking about this deep state, you have no business calling yourself a light worker. It's very disappointing. I was just having this conversation with a couple of broom sisters this morning, and I'm not falling for that division, okay? I'm not falling for that divide. If you want to fall for that, then by all means, you're part of the 99% that doesn't really get it. If you are a true person that can read the stars, you get what's going on. You know what is happening. Even last month or the month before, was it June? End of June, I spent some time with a shaman in Sedona. And he made a comment that my kids disagreed with. And I even sat back and scratched my head. But because I'm an advanced soul, I can sit back and give thought to something. And he had said that first we're talking about conspiracy theories and how the tail in Sagittarius is making people not see the truth and not look for facts. Then he started talking about Donald Trump, and he was saying that even Donald Trump has a heart. I kind of scratched my head for a minute. Don't laugh. Nobody laugh. Wait till you hear what I'm going to say here. And my kids disagreed with him wholeheartedly. They're like, okay. But he said he does have a heart. So I started talking to him, and I go, so is it like the story of the Grinch? You know how the Grinch didn't have a heart? And that's what Rogelio, I think, was trying to say. He has a heart. It's small, and he doesn't know how to use it. But there's a heart in there. That may be hard for some of you to comprehend. But remember, I'm going through this not with political or religious eyes, but I'm going through it with spiritual eyes. And I started realizing something about Donald Trump, even from looking at his stars, is that throughout his life, he's never experienced unconditional love. Really. I don't care how rich you are. This can mess with a child, especially psychology. He was not raised with unconditional love, not from his father, not from his mother. Everything was about money. So for him, growing up, because he never had that unconditional love, he never really knew how to love. And that does come from your upbringing in some ways. Of course, it's our own destiny to change. And at his age, and his, he's old. I don't know how to put it. When you've been raised with just money being thrown at you, and no one's ever taken the time to really give you that unconditional love, especially as a child, it will hinder the child. It will make the child a product of what Donald Trump is today. Throw in him being governed by his own stars. So Rogelio was right. He does have a heart. It's just he doesn't know how to use it yet. And that's kind of sad. And I kind of pity him in some ways. It's really sad. No matter how much money we have in the world, we can't buy love, especially unconditional love. Perhaps if he liked animals, he would have been able to experience that unconditional love that you get from an animal, that animal energy. I love that movie, Hair. Oh my God. Yes. Sweet Butterfly Girl. That is one of my favorite movies. And when it came out, when did it come out? Like 2005, 2006, something like that. I remember when I first played that movie, my daughters watched it because they love that movie. They love musicals. My oldest, who's 20 now, was 6 or 7, and I, times have changed than what they are in the 60s. And, that's even before my time. But my 6-year-old had asked me, Mom, because in the movie, they're talking about Negro. They say the word Negro. My mom's like, what? My daughter was like, Mom, what is that? And so I'm sitting there going, okay. I explained to her in a very delicate way that, the African American community has come a long way since the 60s, but there is a lot more work to be done. And back in the day, that's what people would call Black people. Yes, it's wrong. It's politically incorrect. But so, she kind of sat back and went, oh, okay. But, out of the mouths of babe and out of the mouths of the innocent, she was genuinely curious. What does that word mean? I've never heard that word before. So, the original one in the 70s. I've never seen that one, believe it or not. I've seen the remake, which I love because I'm a big Queen Latifah fan. So once you get to know me, you're going to know I love Queen Latifah. 2005. Okay, I was close. Yeah, so my daughter was 5 back then, and so my other one wasn't even born. So it was just interesting. And I was telling a couple of coworkers about this, and they happened to be Black, and they were like, it's just, we've come far, but we're not there quite yet. So, and I think this was before we had our first Black president, 2005. Oh God, those were the Bush years. Okay. But that's about all I have today on the Mazzaroth. The reason I'm bringing this up is I'm taking some courses by someone who is very versed in ancient Jewish text, Bulkhead Mon. I'm taking several courses by him right now. And the other day, back in the day, I used to go to a lot of paranormal conventions, a lot of metaphysical conventions, and my ex-husband had a box of stuff the other day going on. This is just stuff I don't want, and I decided to go through it. And I came across this book. It's called The Key, and it's made by a man named Sai. It says distribute freely. So I'm not doing any copyright infringements. He made this book free. And it's called The Key, and this is where I got the Mazzaroth from too. I was hearing a lecture the other day talking about it, and then I found this book and I started looking through it, and oh, lo and behold, here he's talking about the Mazzaroth again, and I'm like going, okay, I need to keep this and look at it, and it is a pillar of great information that I'm going to start bringing to you. And his name is Sai, so I don't think he'll mind if I share with everyone what he's written. But it is pretty incredible stuff that's in here. And it's simple, and it makes you kind of think, which I like about it. And I'm going to do part 2 of this tomorrow because I'm going to talk a little more about astrogeography, astrotheology, and I'm also going to discuss the end times a little bit more because there is no such thing as the end times. like I said, we are in the age of Aquarius, and then it's positive, it's humanitarianism, and it's advancements in technology. It's making connections with our UFO brothers. But in its negative, this energy does have the potential to wipe humanity out, because what is the mineral that rules Aquarius? It's nuclear. So this energy rules the nukes. So we as humanity have the potential to wipe ourselves right clear off the globe. That's why it's very, very important to know the stars of your politicians before you elect them, because you will take on their karma as well. Just making sure I've covered everything. Please remember, this is what I'm going to end with. When I just talked about the Mazzaroth and the ages and everything, I talked about the age of Aries, and that's Aryan energy. Okay. What does Aryan energy do? It manipulates. It creates fear, fear-mongering. This is a Aries tactic to fear you into things. This is why the Aryan nation, white power, fear what? Someone with a better tan than them? They're fear. The Aryan energy always includes fear. I'm seeing it now with QAnon. That's Aryan energy. Fear. Instill fear. I'm not saying that some of the things they discuss are not somewhat factual. We do have a sex trafficking issue. Very factual. Very factual. But when your FBI considers them a domestic terrorism, I just read an article about a lady who's from QAnon, and she terrorized this woman and her daughter because she thought the woman was a sex trafficker and the daughter was being sex trafficked. She had to call the police. The lady got arrested. Not only was she drunk and disorderly, but she was completely misinformed. And that's the kind of hysteria. And like I said, this group was erected in, 2016? Before it was even QAnon, it was just Q. It was just starting to pick up steam. And on that note, I'm going to say this, because I know a great many Satan worshipers that worship Satan. There's some that follow me on this channel. And if you've ever enlightened yourself on religion, not just Christianity, but all religions, you'll know that one of the satanic 10 commandments is they will not harm children. That's a satanic 10 commandment. Okay. The reptilians, however, operate on a whole different agenda. So with that being said, stop feeding into the fear. But the QAnon said that there's an industry where they drain the blood out of the babies, and they drink their blood, and they do this and they do that. And I'm not saying that may or may not happen, but it's an incredible slap in the face to Satanists who pride themselves on their religion and their belief, and usually practice within the realm of their own home or within their own church, because there are satanic churches, and they do high rituals, and it has nothing to do with sacrificing a baby. Satanism is very hedonistic. If anything, it worships the woman's vagina. This, like I said, this topic is not for the weak at heart. This is not for the indoctrinated. This is fact. I'm giving you facts about Satanism. I am not a Satanist, but like I said, I have a lot of people on here that follow me, that are Christian, that are, Buddhists, that are Wiccan, Satanists. Some are black witches, some are white witches, some are gray witches. there's just this misinformation, and it always comes from it usually 9 times out of 10 comes from an indoctrinated Christian thought. Anyway, I'll end on this note. Saturn in Aquarius is coming, and this is the age of the women. And it'll be all about the woman and for the next 2 or 3 years. And I think it's a good thing. Men have messed this world and country up enough. Step aside. Let's see what the ladies can do. The future is female. And that is written in the Mazzaroth, the Zodiac, the stars. All right, that's my little spiel for today. I wish everyone a happy Sunday. Sweet Butterfly Girl, thanks for tuning with me. It's always nice to have at least someone in the chat with me. I know Sundays are a quiet day. People are doing their thing. If you are affected in my area by the fires, hang in there. And if you know me personally, please don't hesitate to reach out to me. I'm here to help you in any way. Like I said, I've got barbecue going on the outside grill, and I'm kind of cleaning out my fridge, and I'm throwing all these meats on the barbecue, and I am delivering food this afternoon to some of my friends who are displaced. It's always nice to have a nice warm homemade meal. So that is what I'm doing today. You guys out there, please make it a beautiful day. Sweet Butterfly Girl, have a good one. Blessed be everybody. Ciao.